Good evening, everyone. My name is Melissa Kelly. I'm the Senior Sports Director for School Sports Programs for Special Olympics Maryland. I welcome you to the pre-competition webinar for the tennis competition, which will take place at the Fall Sports Festival. The dial information is offered there, so if you're joining online, you should not be hearing me talk, so hopefully that helps with some direction there. We do ask that if you are in any place with some background noise to select *6 or use your phone's option to mute your line. There will be an opportunity to ask questions at the end of the presentation, but *6 will certainly help with the static noise and the efficiency of the presentation. If you do have a question...
I have a question. Is there a password to get in?
No.
Okay.
You're trying to join online?
Yes.
There is a registration link, and you just simply...
Yeah, I have that. Thank you.
Click on that. Okay. The agenda for tonight's webinar is to basically inform all of you who can then inform your athletes, partners, families, so on and so forth, any attendees of the preparation and plans for the Fall Sports Festival. We do these now 10 days, at least 10 days in advance of the competition so that you have plenty of time to get the information out to everyone. So hopefully this will help you with that. There will be some subsequent information sent out next week specific to match play and such. We do have some counts at this point, but we do not have any matches scheduled or divisions. I want to make sure everyone is aware. We do have Diane Michaelis returning as the tournament director. Diane is actually en route to the National Invitational Tournament in Hilton Head right now, so she's not able to join us. I, Melissa, am new to the community sports program, community tennis program. I've been serving as a staff lead for the entire season and worked with Diane to present the preseason webinar and have had the opportunity to meet a number of you related to tennis or otherwise, so welcome. The entries look fairly consistent with last year. The counts are offered there. We'll go through each and every one. And we are right on pace. As I said, we have 60 athletes and 19 unified partners. And certainly if you do have or hear of any scratches, please let me know as you do receive those so we can plan accordingly. Some of the events do have low numbers, so we want to make sure we have adequate competition as best we can for everyone attending the Fall Festival. When reviewing the entries, it was realized that a number of qualifying scores were missing for players. I just got an email this evening from Montgomery County from the scores for their individual skills players who competed at their qualifier, I believe, last weekend on Sunday. We do, however, also need qualifying scores for match play participants, athletes and partners. So please, I will send a spreadsheet as a follow-up to this webinar. Look at that. There are something close to there's a lot of people with missing qualifying scores. I'll just leave it at that. So look at that, please complete.
Melissa?
Yeah.
In the email I sent you with the skill scores, there was an attachment that actually had all the match play scores.
Perfect. Great. Thank you, Greg.
Yep.
I just saw that come through on my phone, so thanks for pointing that out. So if you could look at this spreadsheet, complete that. One person complete it, get it back to Diane and me by the deadline stated there, 9 a.m. Monday the 19th, so we can go ahead and move forward with establishing the divisions and setting up the matches. That is one component that we do assess as we set the divisions and matches. We as well will look at the results from the previous qualifiers, so if you have any of that information as well, please send it forward. The player rating system, this should look familiar. This is how you arrive at the qualifying scores. So you should have completed this to determine one's playing level. This is simply the score that we need to the final rating. All of these scores combined total divided by 7 is then the match play qualifying score. So that's how you arrive at the qualifying score. For individual skills players, they would complete the individual skills events, and that some of those events would be their qualifying score, just to clarify. I'll add that to the follow-up email as well. Wanted to make sure everyone realizes the principle of meaningful involvement is a fundamental principle in Special Olympics, primarily focuses on team sports. However, it does have an application to tennis, specifically unified pairs, or unified doubles, excuse me. And we have interpreted that in a means to allow for the athletes to excel. So this is 3 bullet points we put together, the sports management team. I'll read them verbatim because I know we have some people just joining on the phone. The role of the tennis unified partner is to facilitate play by blending his or her skills with the level of his or her athlete teammate. Specific examples blending one's skills are best described indicating what not to do. Action skills include but are not limited to smash shots or overly aggressive shots to the athlete, rushing the net, and aggressive forceful serves. Along with the competitive blending of skills, there should be a quality of social interaction and communication among teammates that allow everyone to participate fully and enjoy a positive experience. So we just wanted to share that, remind everyone what our intent is with tennis, and that we hope to allow for the athletes to evolve their skill set and advance through the different levels with the partners facilitating play and not being overly aggressive, if you will, and monopolizing play and or just dominating play. So moving on to the individual skills competition, there was an email several weeks ago as a follow-up to the pre-season webinar and describing the event. So because of the change with the individual skills scoring system, we will offer or conduct a preliminary round on site at the Fall Sports Festival, and then the prelim scores will be used to division for the award round. Awards will be earned according to one's place of finish and one awards round. So consistent with years past, the individual skills players will compete 2 rounds of the event. The first round being collected as a baseline score for everyone, and we will use those scores and division accordingly for the award round. The event, you will receive a copy of this slide deck as a follow-up as well, so I won't go through all of those individually. But again, as a reminder, we have the forehand volley, the backhand volley, and the diagram that supports the scoring method, confining the scoring area to the service boxes, consistent with the concept that individual skills players will very typically move on to red ball short court play as their next level of play. The next set of events are the forehand ground stroke, backhand ground stroke, and the associated image again, exactly the same. And then the alternating ground strokes with movement, the applicable image as a follow-up to demonstrate how that will be administered, and then the service for both deuce and ad court, and the relevant image. The overall event schedule is as such. Please know we do expect only the head of delegation to report and register, collect the delegation packet. That will occur from 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. in the control center, which is in the lower level of the Sten room. I do not believe anyone serving in a dual capacity as both a coach of tennis and HOD. So hopefully you can get there just in time for opening ceremony to experience that. Delegation should plan to assemble between 8:30 and 9. On the earlier end of that window would be great, so that we can start promptly at 9 o'clock for opening ceremony. We will then make our way out to the tennis court. For those of you who attended in years past, the courts do abut the arc So we're not in a rush, so it might be the best idea to kind of sit tight and let the other sports people who are in a rush to get out to their venues allow them that luxury to do so. The overall campus map, as I said, the tennis courts are immediately adjacent to the ARC Arena where opening ceremony is. The arrow from not ARC Arena pointing that is there's an exit area there, and you can simply walk out to the tennis courts, and we will have a check-in table immediately at the gates to the tennis courts. Please be sure to, this would be perhaps stating the obvious, but have everyone use the restrooms before they make their way out to the venue. The venue itself, a more immediate view of the tennis court, very nice condition. The rain plan is to go inside, so just wanted to make sure everyone is aware that there are would be a major reduction in the number of courts we would have access to. So please be patient. If that is the circumstance, we will do our best to accommodate and make sure everyone gets as much play as possible. Currently, the weather being, again, we're 10 days out, so we're expecting AM showers, 40% chance of rain, and it will certainly be on the chilly side as it is year after year, so please be sure to encourage your players to wear layers as it will certainly warm up, and they will want to be comfortable throughout the day, be it if they're playing or sitting off, supporting their teammates. Speaking of uniform requirements, as a reminder, please make sure everyone is properly outfitted. If we do have conditions in which they need to wear layers, sweatsuits will be allowed during, sweatsuits will not be allowed during or be worn during competition unless it is a weather consideration. So please know that. In that case, sweatpants would be allowed, as would jackets. Tennis uniforms must be worn at all times during competition. We are allowing any tennis apparel. We have stricken the requirement of wearing a collared shirt, so note that. Khaki pants, so that would be more of a dress pant fashion, and blue jeans are not allowed. Please also, probably the most important is to make sure that your players have adequate footwear and are comfortable and ready to play. Women can also wear skirts, certainly. Please note and encourage as well the wearing of garments that have pocketed pants, shorts, and skirts so that we can obviously have players retain balls during serves. The matches will consist of one 6-game no-ad set with a margin of 2 games with a 7-point tiebreak at 6-all. The no-ad scoring system will be applied. No-ad will be used for all matches. First player to win 4 points wins the game. The 7-point game is a game point for each player. Coaches on the court, we certainly want to make sure that we are highlighting the players, so please designate one coach to sit at the court if you prefer, off the playing surface, so there will be bench area, and then certainly allow the players to sit during rest periods as well. You may coach a player with a player changes ends at the end of the odd game. You may not coach, however, after the first game of each set and not during tiebreak games. And this would then apply as well to spectators. So please share that with your family members. The tournament tiebreak procedure, we will, for each division, will be, if there is in fact a tie, the same final point score, the tie will be broken by the fewest number of sets lost in all matches, the most games won in all matches, third, be the fewest number of games lost in all matches, and lastly, head-to-head results. I don't know that this has ever been applied, but it is there in case we need to refer to it. Miscellaneous information, the results, we will do our best to post those at the courts, and the electronic version will be emailed out the Tuesday following the tournament. Protest procedures, we need to have, all coaches should be registered by now, and the head coach is the only person who may file a protest, and it must be received within 30 minutes of the posted result. If one chooses to appeal the protest ruling, he or she may do so, again, the head coach may do so within 24 hours to the control center while we are on site, or thereafter they are to be sent to me at my email address. If there are any special accommodations or needs that we should be aware of, please email me and Diane so that we can be aware of those ahead of time and make the necessary, or consider those and make the necessary accommodations. And lastly, there will be medical services roving throughout the day on site. Opening ceremony, as I mentioned previously, it will begin at 9 a.m. Everyone is encouraged to come while it is not required. That is your decision as coach to require that of your players or not. Lunches will be delivered to the sports venue beginning at approximately 11 a.m. So if it's necessary for your players to have snacks before then, please see to that as well. We do expect for the single, hopefully, the numbers are quite large. We will, if you could collect orders from all of your players in your delegation and then report to the lunch pickup area and collect all of those back. Certainly with the larger teams, it will require a few people to handle that responsibility. As well, we will have family hospitality, which will be available in the field house. That's across the hall from the Knott Arena where opening ceremony will take place. Please encourage your family members, and you yourself can stop by. These refreshments are exclusive to family members. They are not intended for athletes or non-family members. The event guide, you can expect to receive that on or before this Friday. Please note, we will send that to all the individuals for whom we have email addresses in GMS. If you do not receive it in that time, please just take a minute and check with your HOD, if you know who that person is, and or your area director. He or she would have received it by then, but we should not miss anyone, hopefully. As a follow-up, there is an evaluation which will be offered online by a SurveyMonkey. Please take the time to complete that. We are anxious, as always, to improve our competitions and events overall for all attendees, and constructive feedback is viable to that process. Going forward, if you have any questions or concerns, I encourage you to utilize your respective regional sports director. Those individuals are listed there in their respective areas in which they serve. Best to communicate with them through email, and then I will provide Diane and my email address as a follow-up. Diane's email address is offered in an earlier slide as well. That does conclude the presentation at this time. If you have muted your phone, please select *6 and it will unmute if you have any questions.
Hi, I have a question. It's Janet.
Yes.
Does everybody know how to do the tie breaks then? I mean, we've practiced it, so I'm assuming when we get to the score of 3-all, we do the 7-point tie break?
Yes, so what will happen is we will advise the volunteers. We do have the varsity tennis team coming out, so It's my understanding that we commonly utilize them as scorers, so they know the system, but we will advise those scorers to waive down a tournament personnel, and we'll designate someone who does know that inside and out to oversee and administer that.
Right.
So thank you for bringing that up.
Because they do get a little complicated. So, I mean, they're hard. Okay.
Yes, very much so. Any
Hey,
other-
Diane, have Winky or Sharon Spangenberg been in touch with you for officials?
Diane's not on tonight. This is Melissa.
Oh.
So I have been in touch with Dave Pullen with the AMTO. Is that an acronym? Is that right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So Dave knows our need, but you said Winky has been in touch with you?
Yeah, and actually, she got in touch with Sharon Spangenberg, who had been planning to come up that day.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check back in with Dave. He has a slew of requests from us, the school system program as well. So I'll double check who exactly we have scheduled. But thank you for that note.
Okay, yeah, Winky's always been one of the officials in years past, but she can't make it this year.
I still haven't met her. I hear great things.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she actually, she's an official at Green Spring a lot of times. Randy, they're good people.
Great. Anything else?
Well, I just wondered, did everybody hear about if they wanted to come and practice if it's cold Friday night? Did you want to mention that or not really? Or I couldn't hear what you said at the end.
Let's cut the recording, if you could, Mike, and you want to go ahead and